Alright guys, that's what you've all been asking since I got this thing, since I did the unveil of the WR 250F 2025. I've gotten messages, comments, when are we going to see some footage? Riding footage, preferably. Well, here you go. We're going to take it out on a ride. We're going to do a little ride review on it. Made a couple changes since we brought it home. Did the full wraparound handguards from Acerbis. I got the KYB fork decals on there so we can represent. That's got to add at least 5 horsepower to the bike. So we're going to hop on. The rest of the bike's bone stock, other than uncorking it. That's been done. It's fully uncorked. Air intake restrictor, muffler restrictor, and throttle stop is out. So the bike's uncorked, but stock aside from that. So let's get her out in the desert and talk about it. What's up, guys? We're out in the desert. I'm going to take you to a variety of conditions. We're out in a little play area that if you've seen some of my past dirt bike videos, you'll recognize this area. It's up the road from my house. And then I'll take you out on a long desert trail. I figured it'll do a little variety of stuff and see how the bike can do in different terrains. So you'll see here I'm lugging it pretty low. It's not stalling. I'm about 5-6 miles an hour. 5, not on the gas. Just idling along here at 5-6 miles an hour. So she does pretty good in terms of that. Little rough stuff. Suspension does soak it up. What I like about this bike is the forks do keep you tracking straight, man. They just they're pretty point and shoot, which I like. I haven't been on the bike in over a week, so it's nice to get out, go a little cruise. And if you guys also know, I'm fairly new to dirt bikes. With this bike, I got 5 hours on this bike now, and I had the Beta X trainer for, I don't know, I had 18 hours on that, and I had about 8 hours on a 250F air-cooled Honda prior to the Beta X trainer. So all told, I'm barely 30 hours of ride experience on dirt bike, so my skills are not good, as you guys will witness mostly in this video. But this video is really about the bike. And I think it's good to show you how it does for somebody who's not the best rider, because people are a little intimidated by these 250F Yamahas for a new rider, and I was too. 25s obviously have some changes to them with the map switch, and you guys will see the blue light on my map switch. That is the softer map that that's the only one I ride in. When we get out in the open desert, I'll flip it into the hot map and I'll show you guys. The only issue I have with this bike was 2 issues I have with it. One is it's not the bike's fault. It's just I'm short. The seat height's very high on this bike. Now, I do have the sag set, and I have it set, I will be honest, a little bit lower than recommended. I'm supposed to do about 33% of, you see how fast it turns off there. Supposed to do about 33% of the overall suspension travel, so that would be about 105 to about 105 millimeters in the rear, because it's 12 inches of suspension travel. I have it at about 115, just a little bit more. Gives me like a half an inch. Every half inch counts when you're short and you're trying to reach the ground. You'll see the way I stop here. I have 1 foot on the peg, and I could flat foot on this side, but it's because it's kind of raised on this side of the trail, so that's kind of how I usually try and stop. If I stop complete flat ground, I'm okay. I can tippy toe. But if there's any type of bellow in the ground, I'm struggling to put my foot down. So that's the only thing. I'm going to address that with the lower seat. I'm going to get the I'm thinking the seat concepts lower comfort seat I'm going to go with, and That'll give another little over half an inch. Every little drop counts. So I have 5 hours on the bike. I didn't want to take use on the bike. My initial reactions, just simply because A, I was going to get used to it. 2, something new is always, rainbows and peaches, and it's glorious. And when you get some seat time on it, that's when you kind of can see the flaws or what it is you like and don't like about it better. Not that 5 hours is a ton of time, but it's, you get over that initial honeymoon of the first hopping on the bike. So this will kind of be real world for a, fairly beginner dirt bike rider who doesn't have much skill on a 2025 WR 250F. So we will play around in here a little bit. I just kind of want to take you back here. There's a couple little jumps where you can, landings you can jump off of, show you how the suspension reacts to that stuff and all. And then we'll kind of do a lap or two around this, and then we'll head out to the main desert and open her up a little bit out there and show you what she's got. In terms of starting, you'll see starting hot, starts no problem. I haven't had any of those issues that some people talk about, the older ones starting hot. If you stall it and you go to start it in gear, it's I've had maybe 2 or 3, maybe 2 times where it didn't start instantly, but it started right up fairly quick. It does start easier in neutral, but I haven't had any issues where it just didn't want to start on me like in previous years. So I don't know if they've richened up the tune or addressed that in some way, but haven't experienced much of that yet. You see, that's a fairly large hop off there, probably about 3 feet, and she just eats it up. I have the suspension clickers on the front forks fairly soft, and right now I'm in second gear putting. You'll see I'm not no clutch, 6 miles an hour, no stalling, so shows that stuff fairly good. Suspension's really nice, and she barks when you get on it. This bike, she barks. And this is in the tame map. In the hot map, it's pretty much like a lightning bolt. It's all second gear stuff right here. Go over this berm. Again, no clutch. Pretty good as far as flame out goes, I think. That was a big concern of mine. Hasn't been something I've had issues with. I've stalled it a couple times, but it hasn't been from like a flame out, I would say. It's been more me just letting off the clutch too quick and not giving it enough gas and stalling it. So it's a little different than a flame out. Here in the soft sand, which I don't like, as you guys know. She's better than the other bikes I've had. Track's pretty straight. I think a lot, some of it to do with the chassis design. And the tires are way better too. So we'll hop out of here, head over into the desert. I have the fork settings in the front really soft right now. I have them down quite a bit just because I was playing with them. I just kind of wanted to see how they react to the clickers, and you can feel the difference. The forks do ride pretty high in the stroke, which is a stark comparison. You see, she barks. That's 50 miles an hour up to there, and she rides straight as an arrow, and that's in the soft map, folks. We will hop out of here and head out to the desert. Alright guys, so now you'll see we're out in the more open desert stuff. This is where this bike shines. That stuff in the back we did was awesome, and that's where the Beta X trainer was good. A little more slower stuff, you could fool around a little bit of play in around in the tight stuff. This where you want to pick the speeds up and the terrain's rough, this is where this bike shines, and the X trainer did not do well. And this is where most of my riding is going to be, and is. And then even the road coming up here to this trail is a big dirt road, and cruising at like 50 miles an hour, pop it in 6th, and it's literally just lugging low RPM like a dual sport. So it's really good in that regard. So let's take off down this trail. You guys have seen this trail before in prior videos, so it's a really good test for any machine. That's where I like to test a lot of the stuff. See the clutch engagement, pretty good. It's not high, it's not right off the bottom, it's like really in the middle. It's got a good feel to it. You can hit these stuff here at 3rd gear. You hear the RPMs aren't too high. I love the transmission in this thing just for the reasons I mentioned a minute ago. It's super versatile. 1st gear is really low, like crawling, and 2nd gear is fairly low too. And 3rd and 4th gear, you hit these trails really good, and you pop it up into 5th and 6th, and you can kind of hit the connector stuff, connector trails, fire roads, and not be making the motor scream. I had 3 things I would say are negatives on the bike. 2 of them will be addressed with one modification. 1, seat height, and 2nd is seat comfort. The seat on this thing, like a lot of dirt bikes, is like a Rock of Gibraltar. So not that you're going to sit a lot. You're supposed to sit a lot, I should say, but like in this stuff here, I'm all standing. But when it's flat and smooth, you want to sit and kind of like, you know, hit connector trails and stuff. And the seat is just really hard. So for trail riding, definitely need to address that. And the bike's tall, so I'm gonna get probably the Seat Concepts low comfort seat for the bike. You can hear how it's kind of lugging right now, and I just went up that stuff and didn't downshift, and she's very happy. And then we'll show you in a little bit here how you can make it scream, and it's not that hard on this bike. So, and the 3rd thing that's a little bit with the bike is, and I'll show you here, is, let me drop it down to 1st and you can see it the most. So you see I'm off the gas. The gas is kind of, it's on or off. The way I would describe it is, it's not rip your arms off, but you see how it's like jerky like that? Like you're off the gas, that's the throttle play, and as soon as you touch it, it goes. The way I would describe it is, I think it's the just the throttle cam that they use on the bike. It's not the motor and the way it's tuned, because once you're cruising, you don't have that problem. The power and the throttle is very linear. It's not jerky at all. It's just the on and off the throttle. I would describe it as it goes from 0 throttle to 5%. Like there's no 1, 2, 3, 4%, and then after that it's very linear. It's that initial grab of the throttle. It goes from 0 to 5. So I am going to get the G2 throttle tamer. It's a different throttle tube, and they have their own proprietary cam design on the end of it, and it completely eliminates that. Makes it really soft roll on, and it doesn't take away the power. It's still all there. So we're going to do that, and it's fairly inexpensive mod, so we'll report back to you when we do that. But the rest of the bike's been awesome, man. I'm loving it. I love the sound of it. I would like to do a slip-on at some point. You'll hear it barks now. A lot of that's from the intake. Intake is right up here on this bike. And on these 25s, the intake is basically the high flow intake from the previous one. So you don't no longer need to, like in the 22s, 23s, they would get the GYTR intake box. This bike comes with that now. That's one of the upgrades for the 25 is a better airbox design. And it's supposed to help with power throughout the entire power band. I've never ridden the previous one, so I couldn't tell you the difference, but I can tell you this thing rips. And you'll see I have it in the tamer map. So it's third gear stuff here. Now I can drop this down to second and ride it in high RPMs, or I could ride it in third here where it's, you know, engine's not really yelling. If I drop it down, you'll see fairly quick the RPMs shoot up. So we'll do this next section here in second gear, you'll see. First and second gear are very low, so they're really snappy. But it's nice in the soft stuff because it really got the throttles right there. It pulls you through the RPMs, pulls you right through the sand. Yeah, this thing just is a RPM monster. Now I'll put the open, turn the map, put the hot map on. It just lights it up, man, as soon as you touch the throttle. I'm in third gear right now. She just wants to go, go, go all the time in that map. So I like the tamer map for myself. Yeah, we can just lug this thing. Really nice. You don't have to be always aggressive with it. It's really, really cool. What I like too, the forks on this bike are stiff enough where I can grab the front brake, slow down a little bit, because, you know, keep my finger on the brake. On the Beta, I was very timid to use the front brake because the forks are so soft, it would just nosedive and wash out the front tire. Like, you almost couldn't even touch the front brakes on that thing. Made them unusable, and it's a shame because they're actually really good brakes. These are also Nissan brakes, and they are freaking awesome brakes. I have no problems with them being spongy. I know some people say the front brakes out of the box, they've reported them being a little bit spongy, and people have had to bleed them a couple times. Mine has been pretty good. I don't know if the dealer addressed that or if mine, I got lucky and they were fine. But you'll see here it's a little washed out. Back up to third gear. I just love how it sounds. The bike just barks whenever you want it to. It's very playful. The chassis is freaking mint on this thing. It is just point and shoot. You know, for somebody like myself who is not very good at riding dirt bikes, as you guys are probably seeing here in this footage, my technique is not great. I'm a work in progress. It's made me a lot more confident because it corners better, it turns better, it reacts quicker to what I want it to do. It's just, the chassis on this thing is incredible in terms of point and shoot. I really enjoy it for that. And when you give it the gas, she lights it up. If you want to got to power out of something instead of downshifting, you can just give it a full of throttle in a higher gear and it'll just pull right out. For a 250, she's awesome. I would say this is makes a really good desert bike, and I'm really, really happy with the purchase so far. I'll let you guys listen to the bike here a little bit. Gotta be careful here on Sundays. A lot of side-by-sides come out and ride. Do stupid things. They don't watch where they're going, so. I'm in 4th gear right there, and you can see how it's just, you know, coming up that. I didn't even downshift. Aside from it being on and off, right off the bottom, I think it's a very user-friendly bike for somebody without a lot of experience like myself. So if you fit, you know, in the same category as me, and you're been timid and worried about getting one because, you know, a lot of the reviews online will say it's very YZ 250F-ish, and it is the exact same bike, but they soften up the suspension a little bit. And with the map switch, you know, you ride it on the Tamer map. You don't even have to uncork it when you first get it. Just ride it like that. And it's very user-friendly. You get the throttle tamer if that jerkiness bothers you, which I am going to do. And it's really nice bike. It's not intimidating at all. And that's what I was worried about. Yeah, it's all that loose stuff and going up, climbing up the hill. The tires, it's got MX33s on the rear. Man, I know everybody's got tire preference, but if you're out here in the desert, it's been a great tire. You know, I've only had stock tires on all 3 bikes I've had, so that's all I have to compare it to. But I've been really happy. I don't find any situation where this tire is lacking, so I'm not really interested in changing it out for anything else at this time. It seems to be a good tire, and it seems to hold up pretty good. I am on stock tubes, so the tires are a little stiff. That would be one downside of any stock setup. You got to run a high air pressure with stock tubes, especially out here in the desert with all the rocks. You got to pinch flat, and then all the cactus and all that stuff. I mean, with cactus needles, you're going to get it flat no matter what pressure you're running, but if it's a lot softer, it's going to be easier. So I've got the front at 14 psi and the rear at 13. I could probably lower them each a pound and be safe, but you know, I'm out here by myself too, and I don't really you know, want to increase the risk of a flat. At some point I might do moose bibs in the tires. I'm not going to be doing a ton of pavement, so should be fine, and that really softens it up and then it completely eliminates the need or the worry, I should say, of a flat. You can't get a flat, it's just a foam insert in the tire. The other system is tubeless. It's like a bladder that seals your rim, and then your regular tube sits behind it still, so you can run a lower air pressure. But that's just a complicated system, and I'm just not, you know, I like ease of use and simplicity. I know you can plug a tire with a system like that, but if I'm going to go with flat protection, I think the Mooses are probably the best bet, especially for out here in the desert. And then you can, you know, get a medium moose, and that's like, you know, 10 to 12 psi comparable, and that'll soften up the ride even more. And you'll notice while I'm talking here, I'm varying speeds, and I'm not even downshifting at all. You'll see I'm at 15 miles an hour, and I'm in 4th gear still. Yeah, it'll just pull it right out. We're up to 30, just like that. I'm sorry, that was 3rd gear, so I'm gonna make sure I'm giving you guys accurate information. So we were in 3rd gear there. That's pretty good. Showing you how good, you know, this bike is. It's not flame out happy, and you don't got to be for a 6-speed shifting the hell out of it. You can ride it a little bit lazy. That's one thing people like about the 450s, is that you could ride it a little lazy, but doesn't really help if you're learning how to ride, because for one, the power can kill you. If you whiskey throttle that thing, you can end up dead. or severely injured, possibly. It's really dangerous if you don't have the experience to handle a 450, and out here in these tight conditions sometimes 450 is a lot to handle. I think the 250 and the KTM 350s, you know, the KTM Husky 350s are probably the best bikes for off-road use. I know everybody renounced the 350s as the best. I think this 250 here is comparable to those 350s. The horsepower numbers are more than the FE350W, but if you get the XC version of the 350 KTMs, they're obviously, you know, horsepower numbers close to a 450, so those are in a different league. But this is really fast revving and versatile 250. For a fast revving motor, you would think you'd have to keep it screaming all the time, and that's how it's got to be, but it's just not the case. The bike's very happy, as you've seen, just lugging around in a higher gear. And actually, if you're a newer rider and you're intimidated by the higher RPM stuff, it makes the bike easier, less scary to ride, because it takes some of the throttle snappiness out of it, which is completely manageable to begin with, but it makes it even that much more docile. It's right up a gear high. Kickstand, 18-inch rear wheel. I mean, this thing is just, I'm thrilled to death with it. I am so happy that I made this purchase and bought this bike. It has been everything I hoped it would be in terms of helping me develop as a rider. The trackability of it, the power level, it's got a lot of power, but not too intimidating. It's versatile, as you've seen. Hopefully I demonstrated a lot of that to you, that how versatile the bike is. You can do slow stuff, you can jump it. Obviously I didn't do any big jumps, but you can jump the bike pretty good. And then you can do, you know, slow stuff. You can do fire roads. It's extremely versatile bike, and a good looking bike. I mean, that's got to be, with the 25s, the way they changed the plastics, man, it's like one of the best looking bikes on the market, if not the best. I love all bikes. I'm not, you know, just like, oh, this is a Yamaha. I do love Yamahas because I've had Raptors for several years, and Yamaha products, I just love how they support the sport. They're really interested in, you know, keeping sport quads alive, and development of their bikes, and you know, the evolution and the changes they make. They seem to listen to the customer a lot. So I just like Yamaha for that regard, and they make a very quality product that lasts, durable. So I think it's one of the best looking bikes. You can't argue with Yamaha blue, unless you don't like blue, of course. The blue wheels are killer. I think the white handguard set it off pretty good. Gives a little bit of contrast. Goes with the white and the lettering. And then the KYB fork. Don't look too close. I messed them up a little bit. I actually ordered a replacement set of stickers because the bubble are two in one, in this one, and then the other one too. And I'm not gonna. They were like $15, so I sorted new ones. So I'm gonna try them a second time. If I mess up the second set, then that's the way they'll stay. But yeah, it looks awesome. It comes with a little KYB sticker for the rear shock too, which is cool. I love the gauge cluster on it. Gives you a lot of information. I don't know if I showed you on the first video, but let me wake it up and show you this. So you have a clock. It's 2:49 p.m. right now. Speedometer, obviously. That tells you, so this is interesting, it tells you how much gas you've used. So it's saying I've used 0.8 gallons of gas since the last time I fueled up. And I have found that to be pretty accurate. So you have a 2-gallon tank in this bike. And I found that when I filled up, I believe it said I used 1.25 gallons. And it took about, 1.25 gallons to fill it up. So it seems to be pretty accurate. You have an odometer now. In previous years, I think prior to 2022, this gauge cluster looked similar but had one button here. And it only gave you 2 trip meters. It didn't give you an odometer. So your trip meters would go up to 1,000 miles and then reset. So you couldn't really, you'd have to kind of write it down and keep track on paper how many miles are actually on the bike. Now you have an actual odometer. And then you have trip A and trip B. So Trip B was reset before I went out today, so I've done 19 miles on the bike. That's a timer, which you can work with your app, and then you can activate. So it's like a lap timer if you're doing laps, and then you can activate it. I'm not 100% sure how it works because I'll never use it, to be quite honest with you. But if you're a racer, you turn it on your app on your phone, the Power Tuner app, and then you activate it with the map switch button. You just hit the button and it starts the timer. And I just keep it on the clock so I know when I'm out, how long I've been riding. And like today, I got to get home, cook dinner for the family. It's Sunday. And that's a wrap on this one, I think. Hopefully you guys like the content, and there's going to be plenty more content. We'll do some more ride videos and adventures on the WR and more mods when we get them. The seat, and then we'll review that. The throttle tamer. We're got to get some radiator guards for the bike. If you guys have a good set in mind, leave them in the comments below. I want something that covers the front and shoots across the side to protect from side impacts. So that's what I'm looking for. So if I drop the bike, which I know I'm gonna, because I'm a terrible rider, so even the best riders drop them, and I sure as hell am gonna drop mine. So it'll kind of, I don't have to worry about the busting up a radiator. So I do want to get those. If you have any good suggestions, I like the Yamaha ones, the GYTR ones on their website, but they're $300. I don't know if there's something comparable out there that are as good and nice looking, that are cheaper. If you guys are aware, please leave them in the comments. And then at some point I want to do a slip-on, but I'm kind of waiting till I can find out from Yamaha if the previous year's ECU, the competition ECU, which you can get so that you can adjust the fuel and timing, if that is going to work on this bike, on the 25 model. If it does, we're going to get that and a slip-on, because that competition ECU is like under $200, and you can do all the tuning on the bike right from your phone, so which is awesome. Right now, you're limited to just turning the traction control on, or four levels of on or off. Right now, I have traction control off on both maps, as you've seen. You know, you can light up a tire pretty easy with it off. It makes it a little more playful and fun. I haven't needed the traction control yet. If I get into a really loose, rocky, technical, gnarly riding, I'll probably flip it on, you know, to a mode where it'll help me with that situation. But for what I'm doing mostly in the desert, I don't really need it. It's got a rear rotor guard. We'll probably upgrade that. It's just a plastic one. It's kind of a flimsy plastic one, but it's better than nothing. You know, it's nice that they give you something. But we'll probably do a nice billet one here. And then we'll do a rotor guard cover. Maybe I was thinking the Acerbis plastic cover for the front. Again, if you guys have suggestions on those parts, you know, I'm rather new to dirt bikes. So what works, what doesn't work, I'd rather buy once, have the right part, than buy something and it's not really any good, or it doesn't work out and I have to get, you know, replace it with something else. We're going to do frame guards on it. We're going to get the Acerbis ones in blue and black. And the factory skid plate's pretty good. It's pretty robust. I take it off to change the oil, and it's solid. It comes all the way up. What I like about it is the OEM one comes all the way up, protects your radiator hose and your water pump. The only thing it doesn't cover is the linkage. Obviously, it doesn't come out and cover the linkage. So we'll see about skid plates. I haven't needed to worry about the linkage protection. I'm not hitting rock crawls and stuff like that with it, you know, really gnarly stuff. So I may not never need that. And I'll see. If I get a situation where I feel like I'm coming close with the linkage, maybe we'll look into a different skid plate with the linkage guard, or just add a linkage guard to the factory skid plate. You can do that too. But any other suggestions you guys have, let me know in the comments. If you have any critiques on my riding, please leave them in the comments too, because like I told you, I'm a novice. I'm kind of, you know, learning as I go here, and I feel like I've come a long way since I first started. If you guys watched when I first started riding the Honda I bought, that trail bike, to how I'm riding now, I've definitely grown leaps and bounds, but still not great, you know, so it needs improvement. Radiator fan too, while I'm looking at it, another awesome feature. That's it, man. I don't want to keep you guys too long. This video is probably going to drop right around New Year's. I'm sorry. Probably dropped this video. You probably seen it the day or 2 days after Christmas. So I hope you guys had a great Christmas. This is Joe with Odyssey Off-Road. Smash the thumbs up button on your way out if you liked the video, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Plenty more WR250F 2025 videos coming your way. So we'll catch you guys on the next one. Get out on the trail and ride safe.